What is up, all of my horror fanatics out there? Welcome back to Late Night Frights. I'm the Late Night Frights horror leader, the J. Sloan or Jordan, back here to do another video for you. And as always, guys, I want to thank everyone for tuning in this evening. Now, last week we did a theme, and we actually did our Killer Machine theme, and it was a great week. And if you haven't checked it out already, please go do that right now. Great videos all around, and yeah, just a great week overall. So obviously this week we are doing horror battles, and the two films that I chose to battle are two haunted house films. You could say both of them have ghosts in them and a haunted house and paranormal elements in both films and supernatural. So yeah, the first one is the 1980 classic The Changeling versus the 1986 House. So before I battle these two films to the death, as you guys know, I'm going to be reviewing both of these very briefly. And yeah, then I will start the battle. So I'm going to start off by reviewing The Changeling, which, like I said, was made in 1980. And yeah, going into this film, I just want to let you know that it was not what I expected at all. And that's in a good way. I really enjoyed it, but I thought it would be completely different than what it was. The story basically followed a guy named Scott, who is this musical genius. And in the beginning of the film, we see that he actually loses his wife and his daughter. And it's a very sad scene in the beginning of the film. It's been 4 months. He's not been able to get back, on top. He's not been able to bounce back from this. And I mean, who could? It would be so hard to bounce back from losing your wife and your child. But he decides to go rent this big mansion for whatever reason. I don't know. I guess just to get away. And he wants to start composing again and start writing, new music. And while he's there, the plot unfolds a little bit. We see that he thinks the house is haunted, and many other people do as well. He holds a seance to actually see what's in the house or who is in the house, and he finds out that there is this big, long murder history that happened in this house that no one knows about. And it's basically like a revenge story from beyond the grave. The person that got murdered in that house wants Scott to help them really redeem theirself and really, get their revenge on the person that did that to them. And yeah, it's a very interesting story, really suspenseful. I really enjoyed it from start to finish. 1980 film. It felt that there were some slow moments in it, but it's to be expected. And those slow moments for this film really works, and it makes it what the film is, which is a suspenseful. It's got a bunch of different mixes with it. It's a haunted house story, a detective story, a revenge story, and it really unravels and unfolds. And yeah, very interesting, and I really enjoy The Changeling. I would definitely recommend checking it out if you're into films that have a haunted house and supernatural elements and just a bunch of different elements in packed in one film. And there's twists and turns throughout the film to really find out what happened to the person who was murdered in that house. The cast, really good cast, and really good direction, and a very entertaining film overall. So yeah, I would definitely recommend checking out The Changeling. Okay, so now I'm going to move on and review House, which was made in 1986. And the film basically revolves around this character named Roger Cobb, who is this horror novelist, and he hasn't been able to write a story in a long time. He's actually trying to work on his personal stories from when he was in Vietnam and the war, and nobody's really interested in that, but it's a story that he wants to get out to the public. He finds out that his aunt dies, and the way that it happens, she commits suicide, and that's so not like his aunt at all. Like he's known his aunt. When his mother died, his aunt took him in and raised him, so it's not like his aunt, and he knows there's something up with that. And as the story goes along, the plot seems to unravel a little bit. We find out that his son was actually taken. He thinks his son was kidnapped. And he moves into this house, and everybody around him is telling him how loony his aunt was, that she thought the house was haunted. And while he's into this house trying to write his new novel, or trying to write his personal stories from the war, he actually starts to go crazy a little bit and notice that the house is haunted, and he wants to find out what's really going on in this house. Does this house have his son? Is that what took his son? And can he find out? And it's really about trying to get people to believe him. He has this one next door neighbor who doesn't believe him, thinks he's crazy. And just so many moments of of just how he thinks that he's crazy. It's like, am I crazy or am I not crazy? Did I see this? Did I not just see this? And to the point where he's just like, screw it, this house is haunted. and I'm going to do whatever it takes to find out why it's haunted and where my son is. It's a very interesting story. Really, really enjoyed this one a lot. I mean, the entire film, you know, from start to finish, it's a great haunted house film. It's got great monsters and ghosts in it. Very good special effects. So yeah, really enjoyed House. The acting was really good. Directing was really good. Cheesy 80s flick, but very fun. And it doesn't take itself way too seriously, and you can tell that right off the bat in the film. But it's a fun flick, and I would definitely recommend checking out House. Okay, so now that I've reviewed both films, it is time for me to battle them to the death. Now, I've decided to change the rounds up a little bit for this battle only, seeing as both of these films are haunted house movies. So I had to change the rounds up a little bit. So round one, I'm going to base round one on suspense, because both of these films are very suspenseful in many ways. So which film do I think was more suspenseful and did it better? And I'm going to have to go with The Changeling. I think The Changeling, with the ghost scenes, you know, the ones with the house, with the haunted house, you know, it's like what's coming next, really. It doesn't matter if they're walking up the stairs or trying to get a door open. What's coming next? And they really did it well in this movie. The suspense was great in The Changeling. So definitely The Changeling takes round one. So round two, ghosts and monsters, because both of these films have ghosts in them. You know, House has ghosts and a few monsters in there. The Changeling has one particular ghost. So which one do I think was better? You know, which one did I enjoy more? The ghost in The Changeling had meaning, it had reason, and it was very, you know, it's very sympathetic, the one in The Changeling, because you know what happened to him. Spoiler, sorry for that, but you know what happened to the ghost, and you feel, you know, sad about what happened. It's very, very sympathetic, and you want the truth to be shed to light. So, I don't know, I really like the ghost in this one, but the monsters in House were really badass. So yeah, I'm going to go with House. House takes round two. I think the monsters and the ghosts in this one were really awesome in that house, and yeah, so House takes round two. So round three, I'm going to go directing and acting. Which film do I think had better directing and acting? You know, it's really difficult for me to say because I really enjoy both films. I'm going to say overall, I think the directing and acting was a little bit better in House. It had a better cast, I think, more recognizable cast in House. Although there was a great cast in The Changeling, and it was done really well, I just preferred it in House a little bit more. So yeah, we'll go one more round, the final round, personal enjoyment and replayability. Which film do I personally enjoy more, and which film would I pop in right now? And without a doubt, to me, The Changeling is awesome, but I'm going to have to go with House. I mean, it was just so fun. From start to finish, I had so much fun with this film watching it. And it was just a great film, very cheesy. You can definitely tell it didn't take itself too seriously, but at the same time, it's believable. So yeah, I mean, I really enjoy House. But don't get me wrong, The Changeling is awesome. It just, it was a little too slow for me. And don't get me wrong, I love a slow burn. I love movies that are slower. But you know, I think House was a bit more interesting. But the story in The Changeling was really great, and I would highly recommend checking The Changeling out, and obviously checking out House. So thank you guys so much for watching. That has been my horror battle over The Changeling versus House. Comment down below. Tell me what you thought of this video. Which film will win in your battle? I'm really curious to hear everyone's thoughts and opinions on both of these films. Stay tuned tomorrow. Little Rocker Cutie 2005 is going to be taking Chris Brock's day for work scheduling issues. So tomorrow, Little Rocker Cutie 2005 will be battling two films of his choice. Stay tuned for that. That will continue on throughout the week. I'm the Jay Sloan. Comment and subscribe. And as always, guys, keep it horror. Peace.